The studies are out, ding, ding, ding. If you want to live a long and healthy life, if you want to avoid brain declining diseases, y'all know sleep, yes, nutrition, yes, good relationships, yes. And right up there, top is play. It's play. And it's just so, I love this for so many reasons. One is primarily, it's personal. Like, I love to play. Welcome to the world of energy, where science meets spirit. Ancient wisdom merges with cutting-edge knowledge, and the possibilities for a healthier, happier you are endless. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Energy Works. Lauren here with a solo today, and I'm here to talk to you about a really, really important and serious issue. And that is play. Play. The thing that we think about when we think about kids or maybe an instrument, but I want to talk to you about it in a wider perspective and a wider way. So there's a lot of research out, which can you imagine being the researcher on play? Like, how fun is that? And actually, the research, if you read it, is really fun because a lot of it is done with animals to see why somebody would spend time. I know I just said somebody for an animal, but y'all know who I am. So of course they're somebodies, right? These little creatures. Why they would spend precious time playing versus doing things that you would think would more directly lead to their lifespan and reproductive span, which is really what biologically drives most things on the planet, right? To reproduce their line. And so why would these animals spend time playing when really they need to be looking for food or shelter or staying away from predators, all of that kind of thing? And playing keeps you away from that and actually exposes you to maybe threatening situations because you're not aware of your surroundings because you're focused on your play. And the definition of play, they kind of vary widely, but it's basically purposeless activities. So it's not leading to anything. It's not building to anything per se. But the truth is, and the science shows, that the more you play, the smarter you are, the more development you have in cognitive functioning, and the longer your lifespan and health span. So this is a really important issue, and it doesn't really get a lot of traction. In fact, a lot of people, once they pass the prime play periods of their lives, which is childhood and young adulthood, get really focused and one-pointed and just kind of head down, doing the work that they're doing to to create a better life for themselves, whether, working hard or working hard, right? Almost to the exclusion of anything else. And what the studies have found over and over again is that actually the more you play, the better your work life is. There was a study done at the Jet Propulsion Lab, which has kind of been the forefront of some of the most advanced scientific discoveries of our age. And what they found is that they had a big turnover of people retiring. And they brought in these, the younger generation, top of the grades, top schools, all of that. But their productivity rates were just plummeting and they couldn't figure out why. And long story short, I don't need to tell you all the ins and outs, but they did this study. And when they talked with the people that were retiring, that had made these incredible advances, what they found is most of them had spent a lot of time in their youth in play, taking things apart, putting them together again, just kind of working with their hands, playing with their hands. And the new crop that they had just hired the ones that had not done this kind of hands-on play when they were younger were the ones that were unable to do problem solving, to make leaps in discoveries, all of that. And so they discovered and determined and now include on their applications, like, how much did you play when you were a kid and how much do you still play now? Because this is another crucial difference of humans and animals that have been studied in the play science is animals that play a lot when they're younger, they actually stop playing as much as they get older. They kind of get into these hierarchical roles of survival, which makes sense. But we are one of the creatures that can continue to play and does continue to play long into our adulthood and old age. And the studies are out, ding, ding, ding. If you want to live a long and healthy life, if you want to avoid brain declining diseases, y'all know sleep, yes, nutrition, yes, good relationships, yes. And right up there, top is play. It's play. And it's just so, I love this for so many reasons. One is primarily, it's personal. Like, I love to play. In fact, I have created my entire adult life around the concept and application of play. I work really hard. You all know that. You've read my books. You take classes and courses from me. You come on retreats with me all around the world. You listen to this podcast. So you know that I'm working really hard. I own my own company. And so I'm kind of always working. My brain is always going about what can I do better? What can I do more? How can I serve my clients better? All of that. But the fact that I own my own company means I can create my own hours. And when do I want to work and how do I want to work? So sometimes I'll be, editing a newsletter at 10 o'clock at night, or I'll wake up at 6 a.m. with another idea and I'll, run to the notebook and write it all down. But I have created my life around my parameters for play. So some of you know, if you've read any of my books, I am how do I say this? Because I'm not a great skier, but I adore skiing. I love skiing. It is so fun. And the better I get at it, because it's really hard work too, right? So it's not just you can click on a pair of skis and go have fun. It's like, it's a lot of torque on the body. It requires a lot of strength and stamina. So I try to build up my strength and stamina so that I can play more and have more fun. And so I've been, as the ski season winds down, I've been trying to get up on the hill as much as I can. And just this last week, I just was feeling, I finally got everything together. Like, I had some issues with my back that I had to work out. And I had some issues all season long with my gear. Big shout out to K2 Mindbender ski boots. It took me all season to finally get a pair of ski boots that work with my foot. And now I'm connected to my skis so that I can have that instant feedback loop. And it has been so much fun up there. It's been spring skiing and it's kind of like cream cheese or sugar snow. And I have felt like one of the animals that plays a lot are the ravens. And they play in the snow. They slide down a snowfield and then they'll fly back to the top and slide down again. They're literally doing ski runs. And I have felt like a raven these past few weeks, few days especially. And I'll fly my arms out to the side and I'll make the caw sound as I'm going down the hill. And it's so fun. It has no purpose. I'm not competing for anything. All I'm doing is playing. But what playing does is it reestablishes and realigns and repatterns the neural networks. And that is something that can happen all through your life. That's what's called neuroplasticity, the ability to reshape your brain depending on what you do. Learning a new language, playing an instrument. You can see the piano behind me right there. On top of it, I can't turn my camera. There's a ukulele. I'm like surrounded by toys. Here's a little one. I love this guy. He's a little giraffe. And if you press the button, he collapses down. And if you unpress the button, he stands up. And I use that as a teaching aid to talk about the bandhas, which are the locks in yoga. And another of the studies has shown that when you learn through play, you actually learn better, you retain the information better, and you integrate the information better. I'm just sitting at my desk here, or one of my desks, because I have about 4, and I'm just looking around at all the things I have to play with. I have this little magnet thing where you can like bring it apart and then make it into different shapes. And this is like a fiddle thing. I forget what those are called. A fiddle, bidget, twidget. I don't know. Some of you, fidget, I don't know. Someone's going to drop it in the chat what that's called. But this is one of those. Often when I'm sitting at my computer, especially when I'm doing interviews, when I'm the one being interviewed, if I'm interviewing you, I'm not playing. I'm working. So I'm super focused. I've got my list down. I've got my questions, and I'm really listening deeply. But if I'm the one being interviewed, I need to be playful. Otherwise, I lose my train of thought. I lose my focus. So I've got all kind of toys here. I've got a dodecahedron, tetrahedron here of shungite, which I love to just spin with in my hands. I've got some angel cards here, which is not something that I would do on an interview, but I can always pull an angel card. Just being very playful. But the biggest play I do, without doubt, is skiing. And as I've been reading more and more of these play studies, I've just been so happy that kind of intuitively, I knew that play was a big ticket item in the world, way more important than your income and some of these other metrics that people use to calculate, I don't know, your success, right? Like how big your house is or how fancy your car is. I have a car that can get me up and down the ski hill every single day. As a matter of fact, I had a car for years. It had over 200,000 miles on it. And my mechanic finally said, you can't leave the valley in this car. So you might want to think about getting a different car. So, but what the goal was for the vehicle was, can it get me to where I want to play? Can it get me to the lake where I can put in my boat and I can go canoe around? Can it get me up the mountain so that I can ski or I can hike? Can it get me to the river so I can just sit and listen to the flow of river? And so the other thing that's really interesting about some of this research, this is a piece that I found fascinating. So again, talking about lifespan and health span and the kind of the metrics that everyone knows that leave the longevity bros out of it, because more and more research is coming out that we don't need all of those supplements, stacks, and the fancy red light masks and all that crazy stuff costing you hundreds and thousands and billions of dollars. Those longevity products are billion-dollar industry, but really what you need for longevity is free. Eat good, healthy foods. That's not free for sure, but healthier local foods are actually less expensive than some of the non-food food items that are more expensive that people spend a lot of money on. So just like clean, healthy food. Sleep, that's free. Hydration, that's free. Especially, I mean, we know a lot of places in the world, clean water is not free or available. So if you live in a place that it is, what a blessing, what a gift, take advantage of it. Connection, community, relationships, that's all huge for longevity. And play, which is free. I mean, yes, I have to buy a ski pass, and those ski boots, didn't just show up at my door. But all kinds of play is free. Just running around in the yard, going for a walk in the woods, throwing a ball. One of the things I love to do is throw darts. I am not going to join a dart competition and win any dart games, although my husband and I joke around going on the dart circuit, because that's part of the playfulness that we have. It's like every time we go out and shoot darts, we're kind of doing the commentary. Okay, she steps up to the line. What's it going to be this time? And it's just very playful. These are the things that help us in life, make our jobs better. In fact, the people that are best at their jobs approach their work with a playful mindset. In fact, some of the biggest scientific discoveries ever made come from playing. I mean, if you're a scientist, you're literally playing. most of the time you're like, let me posit this question. I wonder. And now I'm going to play around with all of my things and see if what I proposed is true or not. It's a very playful way to go about your work. And back to those longevity things. So we know that we have serious sleep issues in our world, like serious. There is massive sleep deficits and all kinds of tools and techniques and tricks and supplements and all kinds of things, melatonin gummies or whatever to help you sleep better. And I actually was talking to a friend of mine the other day who is the person that actually steered me to a lot of this play research. And she said, we're talking about sleep. And she said, how have you been sleeping? And I was like, I sleep great all the time. That's not my issue. And I said, how do you sleep? And she's like, good night on, good night off, good night on, good night off. And I was like, wow, really? Why? What's going on? And so we sort of talked it through a little bit. And I said, well, how much exercise you're getting? How much time outside? And she's like, not really, not much. I was doing some yoga, but now I'm not really even doing that. And I was like, well, you need to go run around like a puppy and get yourself tired, and then you will sleep. And the next few days she went out and was playful outside, and she said she's been sleeping great. So we have this sleep issue, sleep deficits, but we also have a serious play deficit. So ask yourself this: when is the last time you played? Can you answer that question? Now, it could be playing an instrument. It could be being in a play. It could be playing with your kids or your grandkids or your pets. It could just be playing outside in some capacity, or playing a game, playing Monopoly or playing cribbage. Can you remember the last time you played and the last time that you had fun and were engaged in doing that play? I remember watching the TV show Succession when it was out in real time. And it's a crazy show, right? It's based on the Murdochs. And so much of it, there's so much wrong with so much. Like, how did this one family basically take over the messaging and the news and the minds of so much of the United States and the world? Was that legal, what they have done, conglomeration of power, all that stuff, right? So you're watching the show, and yes, it's loosely based on reality, but it is a TV show. And one of the things that was so clear and obvious and really like sad was like, these people are miserable, like literally miserable. All they're doing, spending all their time just ripping each other apart and destroying the world and the fabric of society and each other. And it was hateful and spiteful and cruel and all about money. And my husband and I would watch this show, and like they're flying around like 5 Black Hawk helicopters to take them from like New York City to, I don't know, someplace 5 seconds away, but they're going to go in their big Black Hawk helicopters. So they've got these, and we're just sitting there saying, wow, they have so much money. Like, why don't they take one of those helicopters and go heli skiing? Like, do something fun. Here are the richest people on the planet, and they don't play. They're literally miserable, miserly, horrible creatures, horrible, awful people. And one of the reasons is they lack a sense of play, a sense of lightness, a sense of joy, a sense of participation in just being alive and the bliss of simply being alive. And so if you look at our world today, you can see that pattern happening over and over and over again. And I look at, there's so many conversations about the disparity of income and the billionaire, trillionaire class and tax the rich and eat the rich and all this. And I just want to say, like, why don't you all go play? Because if they all went and played and joyfully played, instead of whatever it is that these miserly, miserable rich people are doing, destroying the planet $1 billion at a time, it's really sad. It's sad for the planet, but it's really sad for them because they're miserable people. And playing makes you joyful. And at the end of the day, we're all going to die. We're all heading to the same place. We know that. And so I feel like I've said this before, like on your deathbed, do you want to be like, oh, I wish I had another $1 million? Or are you going to look back and be like, oh man, I remember cruising down that run on that beautiful spring day. It was so fun. That's the last thought I want to have before I leave this incarnation and go to the next incarnation. And then when I do my life review after I've died, then I can go back and see like all the play that I've done in my life, all the incredible people that I've played with and the wonderful relationships that I've had through playful times, and just feel so joyful. So if you're a billionaire who's miserable, tip for you today, go play. And if you're just a regular person like me, here's your tip for today. Go play. Find something that you love to do and turn your attention to it and just get focused in it, get lost in the flow of it. And if you start to make a regular practice out of play, start to notice if the rest of your life feels a little more easeful, a little more graceful, a little more fun. And isn't that what we're all looking for at the end of the day? I've been doing this gratitude practice lately. And I know that a lot of you do gratitude practices, and I've heard from some of you, and I've felt the same way. I'll have my notebook and I'll write my 3 things a day. But it starts to feel a little rote and disconnected. And so what I've been doing lately is making it really specific and almost like talking to my day. And so yesterday I was like, thanks, Friday. Such a fun day on the mountain. Thank you for my ski boots that finally work on my feet. Thank you for that beautiful sunny day. Thank you for all of my friends that just happened to show up at the summit at the same time. Thanks, Friday. You were such a fun day. And that kind of connection, personification of the day, personification of gratitude feels so wonderful. Like it just floods me, even just saying it to you out here right now, floods me with all of the feel-good hormones. So thank you, everyone out there, for listening. Thank you for being part of our community. And thank you for taking this idea of play and running with it. I'd love for you to drop in the comments, what's your favorite way to play? Who's your favorite playmate to play with? What do you love to do? What brings you joy and what bubbles you up? And if you're a billionaire and you have a Black Hawk helicopter and you're miserable, give me a call, DM me, and we'll go for a ride. And I'll show you how to have fun. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Have a wonderful, playful day, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Energy Works.
Alrighty, Energy fans, that's a wrap on another positively charged episode of Energy Works. Lauren, this is the part where we get to use our energy puns.
It's been electrifying, hasn't it, Blaine? We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
If you're feeling amped up and you want to keep your energy flowing, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform.
And we'd love to hear from you, so please take a moment to leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates, so light up our inbox.
And spark a conversation with your friends to tell them about us. And we'll see you next time on Energy Works.